then let me ask a follow-up question to that. What in Zonda's world or your world here for the Pacific Northwest, what is a normal market? Could you define that?
That's a great question.
Yeah, excellent question. You know, even though we're getting more new listings here in Pacific Northwest and across the country, we're still only at 2 months of supply. And so a normal healthy market would have 4 to 6 months of supply. And for those that might be listening, not aware of what months of supply, what we're talking about, if there was no more inventory coming online tomorrow, how long would it take at the current rate of demand to deplete what's for sale? And so we're still at 2 months. A couple years ago, for post-pandemic, we've been at weeks. 2 weeks supply. That's insane.
Is that 2 months across the country or 2 months in the Pacific Northwest?
Pacific Northwest.
Okay.
Yep. Pacific Northwest. It's a little under 2 months. So it's still technically a seller's market. It's still tight. But this is a great opportunity for buyers that have been thinking about pulling the trigger to go ahead and get in now, because it's just been pretty crazy right now. We have a little bit of a dip. Demand has softened, and a lot of that craziness that we saw with waiving contingencies, that's kind of gone away. But so to answer your question, Keith, the housing market, we would have 4 to 6 months of supply.
Beautiful.
Yeah, isn't that interesting that we're still in a seller's market, but because it was so crazy, it was so bananas, it doesn't feel like it, but it definitely is. It's the same in mortgage. Everyone in mortgage right now is, we're in the headlines too of layoffs and people losing their jobs, but we're in a $2 trillion market, which is one of the largest markets we've ever been in. It's one of the top 10 markets. So it's the same thing on our side. So, but I agree, like people need to, if you want to buy a house and it's the right house, there's not a bad time or a good time. You just need to do it. Yep. Can't time the market.
So Mark, you specifically work with new construction folks. What's the builder sentiment out there right now? Are they like, okay, hey, put your hammers away, let's not build a house right now? Or are they still punching those clocks and getting out there?
Yeah, well, a couple of things. It's much like the buyer. I think there's that hesitancy, a mood of cautious approach here moving forward. But again, a lot of these builders, they've been around during the Great Recession, right? The last housing crash. So they know that, it's a cyclical market. These things happen, right? That being said, they're still dealing with challenges. Locally here in the Pacific Northwest, still jurisdictional delays. That's a big problem. Getting plats approved, building permits. There's a long backlog that's occurring. So that's adding some of the heartburn. But the sentiment, cautious, but optimistic. Many builders I speak to are expecting spring next year that we're going to get back to our normal market, right? Everyone's on the sidelines, taking a time out. But that being said, absolutely, starts are slowing down. They are pulling back the throttle, right? And that's just going to exacerbate the inventory shortage that we're seeing.
I know that's what's so crazy about this, because you read articles that the permits are down and they're not going in for as many home starts, and we all know there's a housing shortage. So how is this not going to happen again? How are we not going to have another spike in prices if the rates do? I don't know if that was all rate driven or not, but I mean, there's lots of articles too that rates will drop to around 4.5%. And kind of stabilize there, but time will tell. But it just feels like we're just gonna have that craziness, the bananas could happen again.